Light note. So, to kick us off, I know majority of these guys, but I would love them to do an introduction, share with us who they are, what they do on daily basis. Then we can pick this up, starting with the lady on my right.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Wambiro. I am an information security analyst at Dimension Data. I'm also a content manager. Huh? I'm also a content manager at SheHacks Kenya. What I do on a day-to-day, basically I'm a blue teamer, so I monitor the network for our clients for any suspicious activities, and I also perform incident response and memory forensics.
Hi everyone. I hope you are having a lovely day, and just a little bit introduction of myself. I'm Eve Kilel, one of the co-founders of SheHacks Kenya, and I believe most of us here are members of the same, and you've been able to learn more about cybersecurity based on the program we have. And then also I'm a program manager, cloud security, customer experience engineering in Microsoft. I think I'll expound more about that as we talk today.
I am Crispus Kamau. Most people call me CK. I am currently the director of Vikral Innovation Hub. So previously I was mostly a technical person, but it's becoming harder. I do a lot of research and development, and hopefully the balance between the two will continue, and hopefully I can be able to answer questions on both sides.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Yali. I work as a principal risk consultant for Seriano, primarily leading digital forensics and incident response for our managed security services, and also for any other consulting clients.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How was the lunch? How was it? Yeah, thank you very much for hosting us here. It doesn't mean that we are the best. It means that we are ready to share some of our experiences. I am Frederick. I founded SecUnits back in 2009, which I still lead, where we provide cybersecurity and also forensics. Also back in 2015, we founded Kenya CyberSecurity and Forensic Association. Basically, we also have a number of members here, where we bring together professionals so that we can have such discourses. And because I might quote a scripture along the way, it is good to declare that I also love Jesus. Do you do that?
Thank you so much. So, Nayo. So, first question to you guys. Majority of the questions you're going to have will actually be coming from you. I'll probably have maybe 2 or 3 questions that they don't know, so that we get genuine experience. You see those surprises on their faces. You see those. So just to start us off, something I wanted to add. I don't think we have a Gen Z here. My apologies for that. It would have been very, very lovely to also get that perspective from an employer's employee point of view. But all of these guys, I believe from my interaction with them at different professional levels, they have probably gone through some of the challenges most of us or a few of us are going through. Probably going through some challenges that some of us are going through. So use that opportunity to ask meaningful and leading questions. It's going to be very rare to get this amazing guy in one place. So my first question is going to go to anyone from the audience who can pick who should respond to the first question. Anyone? Yes. Thank you. So Eve.
Yes.
what do you wish you knew before? From this point, from your career level, based on everything you have learned, what do you wish you actually knew before, which might have probably influenced or changed your career trajectory?
Well, that's an interesting one. I'll start with two perspectives. With a change of career from being technical core, pen tester, or DevSecOps engineer, I'm now doing more like on the sales side of the cloud security products in Microsoft. So I wish I knew that one day I'll start having customer conversations and things like that from a technical perspective. So joining in is where now I started learning the art of how do you speak to customers, like literally how do you phrase everything that you have to speak. So I wish I knew that before, as it's been it took me about almost 3 months in the role to get to learn all that. And literally it's something each of us should be able to appreciate. The second one, love every field in cybersecurity. Why do I say that? I hated network security so much. Like literally, I did not like anything about it. It looked so hard to me, and that's what I do now. Is there an option? No. Literally have the chance to appreciate in the other field available in the security space.
Thank you so much. I was about to say karma is hammer. Try to run from it, I'll have to does that one on you. Second question. Still that same question. Brian, what do you wish you knew before?
Mine would be a bit different from what she said. What I wish I knew before is stop trying to chase a work-life balance before you put in the work. You don't get to that balance before you've gone through the trenches.
Expound kwanza yo, expound.
So, early on in my career, I started out at a different organization, and we worked with Lawrence back then when I was still doing networks. Then after networks, I moved into systems, after systems, security. And there's a time Fred was one of the people giving me sleepless nights when we were managing DNS for the CCTLD. So there's a time most of my colleagues left and I was left in the technical team alone. So being in charge of all the systems peke yako is not a very easy thing. So barely sleeping, making sure things are running. Then immediately after that, I really wanted a work-life balance. I wanted to have time to do my own things and time for work, etc. But I hadn't realized that you have to really go through the trenches, put in the work, become really good at what you do for you to get to that other side where now you can enjoy that balance. But before you put in the work, there's no balance yet.
Thank you so much. Let's jump to CK. What do you wish you knew before or earlier?
I'm going to talk about the technical and the technical. So for the technical, the one major thing is that the basics matter. And by the basics, I mean the things we know when, as if said, we are doing a different field. I didn't think I would one day really need to learn those low-level languages. So I wish I had learned them then. It's easier to learn when you are younger. I think it's the same with all types of languages, both spoken and the coding ones. So the younger you start, the better. So learn those languages that you want to learn right now. Learn those basics, read those PDFs, the ones that tell you what is actually happening. The rest will come easy, because what you find is much later. You want to do something then, you have to take a break from what you're doing. You go take 1 month, you learn a language just to be able to do what you're doing. So learn those basics in whatever area. Then non-technical is what gets you further in life. A lot of the time it's not going to be your skill, unfortunately. A lot of the times it's going to be visibility. Visibility could be who you know, and as unfortunately that's the truth. So know as many people as you can. If you can't convince them using your interpersonal skills, convince them with your work, because that's another way of networking. Network with your work. Present. I see people joining CTF teams, do all that stuff. Your start determines a lot. If you start at a very low pay scale, you may never reach to a goal you want to reach. So try to secure your networking at the very early start.
Thank you so much, CK. Christian, what do you wish you knew earlier?
For me, it will be go for what you want, and no matter how fearful you are about the circumstances that will come out of it. For example, change is something that scares all of us, one way or another. But sometimes change is good, and sometimes you putting in that effort for you, then that is what will make the difference. That is what will make you stand out. Also, if you have the opportunity of putting yourself out there, please do, because it is not easy for you to go to a workplace and start trying to prove who you are. Or you may get employed right now and you have to start proving who you are, what you can do, and all that. You can do it right now currently. For example, SheHacks has a platform where you can write articles and share knowledge with the community. That is also something that you can do to just, it benefits you and it will also benefit the community.
Thank you. Buona Fred. Fred is deep in thought. What do you wish you knew earlier?
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I wish I knew that it was hard, because I thought it was simple. And before starting a company, right from the university, I never knew that there are additional skills that I needed apart from the technical skills. So getting out of the university with the computer science skills, Linux skills, server skills, the geek mentality. And I found out after 3 years, almost I could not generate any income. So I had to rethink and go back and partake a sales and marketing course. That was not enough. I had to go back again to seek for customer relationship styles. So I had to vacate the technical skills for almost another 1 to 2 years. If I knew back then, maybe I could have sought those skills. Another one, in relationship to the association, considering that we are not affiliated to like a global organization, we wish we knew what we were getting ourselves into. Because we came to realize that the thing was too tough. You needed so many things. We have never managed people, like different people, very smart people. Some of them, they are smarter than you. So, but now you are here. The association is running. People you are managing are serious, but they don't seem like they are serious within their association. So if there was a way that we would have known, maybe somehow, like for me, I would not have, I would maybe have waited for some more years. And the last one, I also, like my sister said, or Nani, CK has said, that relationships. So I never used to value relationships during the first 2-3 years. But it is relationships, and it's not about quantitative or the quantity of relationships you have. It is the quality. One person can open a door for you. For instance, in Safaricom, But you have to package yourself before you get access to those people. The problem which we'll discuss is that most of us, you are very proud because you can type some Linux commands. You don't value the other person who does not know Linux. And that person is the one who will hold your hand to the place where you are going to practice the Linux commands. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred, for that. Watu wakali ya parrot, one is better than the other. You're hard. Not be proud. Now, to also answer that, I think as a tech, one thing I wish I knew earlier was getting used to rejection and not taking personal. Unajambo, oh, you are beating character development. Yes, even that on that personal level, but a lot of the things you want, you're probably not going to get them in the first try. You hear you have to kiss many frogs for you to write the right frog. Even in work, especially for guys who are going to join the workplace, get used to those CVs being rejected. Don't let it slow you down. Let it pew off you. You have rejected me. Look, tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself. Cry internally. It's their loss, but you need to keep moving on. Don't let that rejection slow you for too long. It's okay to be unhappy, sad for maximum a day, a few days, a few hours, but you still need to keep going. Now, as a manager, what do I wish I knew earlier? How many guys are managers? Team leads, managing teams. It will be good to also share your experience. Because I see some team leads that I work with right here. If we had time, it would actually been very good to share your experience. I'll say as a team lead, as a manager, one of the things I wish I knew earlier was to take advantage of delegation. Being able to delegate some of your responsibilities and empowering those people to be able to do those responsibilities to the best of their abilities. I think that's one thing I wish I knew earlier. Then also being very open and very free with your team to the point that you enable them grow. If you are lucky within your company, if you are luckier outside the company. So empowering your people, just not to be all around you, but giving them enough tools for them to even excel somewhere else. Back to our next question. So if I could start with Brian, this, well, if it's personal, then it's better. What are some of those professional challenges you are currently facing, and how are you working your way through them? Whatever you're comfortable sharing out.
One of the big challenges I'm facing at the moment was, initially I was part of a SOC team and helping build a SOC team up and threat hunting, and also merging that with forensics and incident response. Now that moved into risk. The main challenge with risk is you'll always be facing clients day in, day out. The days you'll meet clients who question your capabilities right off the bat. There's someone who will come at you aggressively, and there are those who will be very polite and easy to work with. So learning how to relate with people and work with them is one, tough, and two, seeing business opportunities from engagements is a very tough thing. You know, previously you'd see business coming into the organization and you're happy because you know that's your salary being paid. But when now you're tasked with those opportunities, seeking them out and following through, that's big on what we've been hearing here in terms of the interpersonal skills, learning how to do business, how to do follow-ups with people, and seeing those things through. So that's one of my biggest challenges at the moment. How I'm going through it, learning from people, reaching out to people who have been there ahead of me, learning how to hone those skills, and engage with people of even business-related matters. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Christine, we are leaving thought.
Professional challenge. I would say, as a woman, I constantly have to prove myself in a room. So, for example, if let's say you have a meeting with someone, you have to constantly prove that you can do it or that you suit the job. So that is one of the challenges that it's not professional kind of, but it sometimes affects my work because you let it get into your head, and it's at the end of the day you are proving whatever that person told you, you're proving them right. So what I'm doing to work on it is to shut everyone off. So for example, if I come into a meeting and I explain something, once I'm done, if you have any comments, I'll listen, but it will get in and get out. So I don't, unless you're giving me constructive criticism. Otherwise, constructive criticism. Yeah, unless it's that, then I don't need comments. I think that's one of the challenges I am hugely facing currently.
Thank you so much. For the record, I happened to work with Christine at some point. She's an amazing, brilliant, amongst the best SOC people person I actually worked with. She's actually really good. Eve.
Thanks, Lawrence. Maybe to add, I concur with what Brian said earlier. And just to add something is, be transparent in everything that you do. The art of employing transparency to the things that you do based on the art of working a lot with customers. You just be honest with them. Mostly, as at times you feel like I might get this based on the conversation I'm having with them. So it's good to be candid with the different customers that you're working with on the journey that you have. And then additionally to that, aside from that, is the part of emotional intelligence. A conversation might be so hard to a point some of us love crying. So you literally might end up being so emotional and you are not able to manage that. So literally learning the art of emotional intelligence. How can I cool down when it's the worst time? Am I able to respond collectively or a correct manner? Because at times when you deal with emotions, I think maybe women here in the room, I don't know if you face that, but you might really burst out and make a very wrong response to something. So literally learning the art of emotional intelligence and how to manage difficult conversations.
Thank you so much. CK?
So professionally, unfortunately for me, I was promoted recently to the position of director. So I have to start worrying about things. I have to start worrying about things that I never used to worry about. Before then, I basically had every hour of the day to myself to do whatever research I wanted to do. Nowadays I have to worry about budgets, whether people will get paid. We are in a transition period where, again, have to convince someone that, yes, we can get people paid. Then I think people read about restructuring and so on and so forth. You never get to realize what they are until you're the one who is being told you have to do it. So things such as that are the professionals. I think people should prepare themselves at some point in their life to start dealing with that, start dealing with budgets on a personal level. For those who are already team leads, I think it's a good place to practice. The other thing that is a mixture of the professional and the personal is time. So time goes away. I think I can leave people with a quote that I was given by my outgoing director to prepare me, when he told me that at some point someone will call you in the middle of the night about one person is in the hospital about to deliver, and you will have to deal with it. So it's no longer the tech. So I hope that as people grow in the technical fields, they also start growing in their other than their non-technical aspects.
Thank you, thank you. A number of challenges professionally. The first one being in the perspective of managing people, actually working with people. Now, from the organization perspective, considering that we are in entrepreneurship, and if we do not look for money, you are not going to expect money from anywhere. Government is not going to give you money, and people are not going to give you money. And this money must come from a business that you have transacted. So trying to manage relationships, especially with onboarding new customers, it is very tough, especially now when we talk of cybersecurity. Why? Our competitors are the big organizations, and they have built trust over years. We have the likes of PwC, we have KPMG, we have likes of Safaricom. So someone will be very much and very easily convinced when they are presented with a proposal from, let's say, PwC. And when we walk into such a room from Secunet Technologies, they still have a doubt. So the turnaround for a new business, it can even take up to 6 months. And there are different expectations. So another one is managing now the people. Because when you get a business, for instance, I know I'm speaking to someone here who will get into entrepreneurship, and eventually if you're in employment, you are going to transit maybe into having your own business. So you have a business, then that side, they have an expectation in terms of, let's say, cash. Sometimes Kenyan customers, they don't pay on time, they pay less, they have over expectations, and when they pay more, they also want 10%. And you see, so do you give this person 10% because they have given you a business? Is that a bribe or is it an appreciation? Who can answer that? We got ourselves into a challenge sometimes. We got a business and we said, let us appreciate this person with 10%. And they told us, you see, you are now bribing us. Are we together? So these are some of the challenges. And also in regard to the generation Z, and I think is there X? Managing, like working together, being in the same perspective. But one thing we have done is to allow critical thinking. You do not have to follow orders, some legalism point of view. No, you can come up with your own things as long as they are going to add value to you, and they are also going to add value and also to our growth. So those are some of the key challenges. Yeah.
Thank you. For the managers in the house or team leads, what are some of the challenges I'm struggling with? I think I'm more or less figuring them out. Doing what is right for your team and doing what's right for the company. You had Andrew yesterday talk of he'll die for his team. If it's a bonus that it's meant to be slashed, rather take the manager's bonus back to deliver the team affected. If you ask me, in most cases, it can be very challenging to do what is right for business and what's right for your team, because at the team level it tends to be ideally very personal. So you probably want to try and find a very good balance, because if you piece either of those two too much, you lose also. Either if you piece your team off, people go, the company suffers. If you piece the company management too much, then career progression even for your team and yourself also take a hit. Another professional challenge I'm facing for managers, how do you form genuine relationships with your team without also infringing on their privacy? And I know a lot of people say as a manager you need to have a good, not relationship, they need to form some boundaries between, at the end of the day, they are your subordinates. But you still also want to be friends, not maybe friends, but you still want to have those genuine relationship with them. So for me, not professionally, it's something I'm trying to figure it out. So if any other team lead here is going through that, I'll copy yako. You can come to me, we'll share experiences and some very interesting mails that at times I've tried to my team. You're like, it is what it is. So moving forward to, this is going to be my last question. For anyone here who has been part of a hiring team, has influenced hiring discussions, conversations, what are some of the challenges you are seeing, especially for guys who are joining entry-level positions, and what's your advice to them? In this case, we should start off with, I see, Brian, Fred.
Thank you, Brian. Let me share briefly. We have been part of hiring, and also we do hire, over time. And one of the key challenge is lack of preparedness for our people who are coming from the university and also from the colleges. So your expectations are so high. So you come to the industry with a very big, and you have to forgive me if it is an injection, it's an hospital injection. So you come with so much expectation, and also the size of the ego. Ego is so high and so big. Just because you have graduated with a BSc or MSc, so you believe you deserve. Are we getting? So you display arrogance, attitude, bad attitude. Actually, not bad attitude, a stinking attitude. Yeah? So, attitude first, lack of soft skills, and this is something that I want to encourage universities to take into consideration. Yes, you are very good technically. We don't dispute that. But you can look at a person and you can even discern the attitude, the pride. So you get into an interview. I was part of an interview, I think 3 weeks ago. So the first test, this is a secret I want to give. The first test was on the patience, the level of patience and resilience. So the interview was supposed to start at 9. So it started, I think, at 12. And you could tell, you could tell. So you could tell the attitude, And they did that, although I did not agree with them, but they did that intentionally. So that is number one. Number two, the expectations are so high. Like what we do, we usually have a 1-year program where we do some induction for transition from the university or college into the industry. The problem is, which is not wrong, you want to come out of the campus, you have zero experience. I'm not disputing. And you want to come and start working as a principal something, for instance at Safaricom. You are going to make so many mistakes. You have not been processed. You are still in raw state, raw format. So you need to be processed. Your pride need to be. Are we getting it? So in 1 year's time, if you allow yourself to go through a process, I am telling you, you will be so much refined. And when you get to another interview, you don't even care. Like, even if they do 4 hours, 5 hours, I am okay. Yeah. So those are the main key challenges that we have seen. Lack of soft skill, bad attitude, arrogance, ego. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Fred. Brian?
On my part, while doing quite a number of interviews for both our organization and in other forums, unfortunately, I agree with Fred about the transition from university to the job place. The reality is school teaches you some things, but not everything. So you have to come with an open mind to learn. You've taught yourself stuff. Most of us do it. There's YouTube, there's all these online courses. They're good. They teach you something, not everything. The reality is there are things you'll have to learn on the job. And you can't microwave that experience. It has to happen, it has to grow. There are things even Amajit and the other guys will tell you about pen testing. There's what you do in a CTF and there's what you meet when you go into the client site. So have that patience and have that ability to learn and just listen and grow from the people who have been there. There's someone not as knowledgeable as you because they didn't find those things you learned in uni. They learned older systems with older technology, but there's something that has taught them over time. So take time to learn from those guys. 2, learn those soft skills. You can't pick up a call for a client who's paying a salary and be like, niaji, unataka. Honestly speaking, learn those soft skills. Learn to say hello. Learn to ask them how they are. It means a lot in some cases. You may be working a night shift at a SOC and the client calls screaming because they have seen something on the network. You can't be at the same level as they are. When they're in the panic, you have to be calm and help them understand what's going on and how you'll help them through it. So soft skills and humility are very key in terms of people joining the job market.
For my case, I think my major concern is there are a lot of vanilla profiles of applicants. So you receive all these many applicants, they all look the same. So it makes your work as the interviewer harder. So sometimes I found situations where the person who had the worst profile was the best suited for the role. Which again is, I don't know what failure it is because sometimes it's you who sees what they can't see in themselves. So I would say people who are applying, learn how to make it easy for your strengths to come out. Those things you don't want to write on your CV, write them. Because the people who present their CVs best sometimes aren't the best. And it's a challenge. I think a lot of the hires I've done have been people who have had to fish for information from them. It's me who is actually trying to, let's say, cajole them to reveal something. Then that's exactly what I was looking for. So learn how to package yourself, your CVs, like those obscure things. Sometimes that's what someone is looking for. I even advise people sometimes to, if you did a really good project in university, and it's your one defining thing, put it there, because probably it's related to exactly what I am looking for, but I'll never know. So try and amplify your strengths, and there's now a trend where CVs are so short that people can't write everything. I think it's a new trend where it's one page with your photo on one side, then everything crammed to one side. So don't let that prevent you from actually telling the story of your life. I know people argue against long CVs, but I'd rather a long CV that actually gives me information that helps me than a short one that tells me nothing.
I can add something to that in terms of, I agree with what Fred and Siki and Brian have mentioned, but additionally, based on my experience with Shehans, I get some teams ask me if can you give me a couple of people I could recommend. And I believe I've worked with you, Lawrence, in terms of getting people from SheHacks to work with you. And how good are their profiles by the time they come to your side, right? So basically, be good at what you do and try to do as much, like put yourself out there. So an example of this scenario is someone like Nancy. Nancy's just started DMing me on WhatsApp, like, Eve, I want to be part of SheHacks. Through sunshine, through rains, all that, me and be part of it. And I keep texting him every other day, and that's exactly what she did. And she's now doing great things, and she has a nice job with Lawrence right now. So basically, whatever you put on your CV, let it be the thing that you're speaking about. Because at times I'd review someone's CV, what happens? I'm like, are you sure this is a role that you're suitable to? So basically, whatever you want to speak about, please speak about. And what Christian said, write those articles that you're afraid of writing. I'm still learning how to do that also. And I believe I have a buddy also here, Sean Mesonga. We've been working together, trying to also have myself push articles out there. So write those articles that you'd want to write. And basically that will help you and boost you. And when you put that on your CV, you have a link and evidence that shows that this person has been doing the much they are saying they are doing. It's not just by word of mouth, like if it's good in Azure, what do you know about me doing Azure? Do you know anything really? No. So basically, if I put out a blog out there, what happens? Everyone is able to see, everyone is able to put evidence to the work someone is doing.
I have not been a part of the hiring, but I can share my sentiments because I've been hired. Oh yeah, I've also been a team lead. Maybe I can share that. I agree with what everyone here has said. Okay, it's fine, you have played CTFs all your life, all your university life. That does not make you better than the other person. We have to learn how to be kind, like literally. Even when you're applying for that job, remember there are other people who are applying, so put out the best version of you. And putting out the best version of you does not mean you have to be arrogant. Does not mean you have to be entitled. You are not entitled to that job, you are applying. So always remember that. Also, I agree on the part of the CV. I'm also not someone for one-page CV, honestly, because if you give me one-page CV, how will I know what achievements have you made in your previous job, or what accomplishments have you made, maybe with that project that you did in university? How will I know that? So putting it out there, and just put yourself out there. For example, I can give my my story when I was hired at my previous job. So Lawrence came to know me because I was writing articles via SheHacks, and that was one of the biggest things that made me get hired, because at least he has evidence that, I hope see I'm not jumping the gun. Yeah, but at least he has the evidence that this is someone who is committed to what they are doing. This is someone who knows what they are doing. So you getting that job is a lot easier. Yeah, but please don't be arrogant. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine. So this was the last question. So guys, prepare your questions. I know you are doing very terribly on time, so probably you are going to spend, John says 30 minutes, no? Yeah, 7 minutes on question. So as guys prepare for your question, for the questions, one of the things as a manager you see in a lot of guys out of university is not understanding how the work environment works. Guys, they don't struggle. From what I've heard, I think the guys I've had so far, they're getting there. They're actually there, yes. But specifically, the nuances we take for granted. So for example, from experience, everything you do at the workplace has a real world implication, like you're going to affect someone's salary at the end of the year or the end of that month, you're going to affect someone's career progress. There's a new hire I did. Then they texted me, "Niaje bro?" So bro, you're not. So in my mind I was like, "Hey bro, we are not yet there." And it's like, what's that, bro? It was even weird having that bro discussion with the other bro. But right now we are easy with everyone. But the point here is, if someone from HR sends you a mail, if your team member expects you to do something for them, you need to do it. It's not, is it vibes and inshallah? You know, it's not that. If I'm not responding to Christina, there's something she's not going to do on time. If she has a team leader, manager, that is someone who is going to be disappointed. And what have you done? Her manager's expectations of her goes down. If that manager was waiting for that response to maybe influence a client decision, now you're affecting that manager's ability to close that deal. Now you're affecting the ability of that company to generate revenue. Now you're putting people's job at risk. Because companies, at the end of the day, companies will like you, will have all those amazing discussions, but it's about the bottom line. So you might not show up to work today because yesterday you are at I don't know where, you are not feeling well, you disappear. To you, it might be very benign, but to the actual, from a very strategic, big picture point of view, there's a lot of other cascading effect you are introducing. Then to the managers, please, when you get to work with other managers, please take care of your teams. Be genuinely involved with your teams and do whatever you can to ensure they are growing. It's just not about me making my boss happy and throwing the team under the bus. It's also being very well connected and concerned with your team. If you have an amazing team, high chances you'll be happier. If you're happier, it's easier for your boss to be happier. So for example, I think I'm almost becoming happier, and for the guys I work with, do not use this against me. So I've technically been not active at work for 2 days. There was a time that was not possible, but right now, I don't see my boss reaching out on me via WhatsApp. None of the PMs are reaching out via WhatsApp. So managers need to genuinely be concerned about our teams, ensure they are growing, and ensure you are upskilling. Spending time with them, they will piss you off at times, but it's your burden to carry. Figure your things out and ensure they don't piss you that often. Questions?
Thank you very much. My name is Ian. From the panel conversation, the main target audience has seemed to be the young people coming from university. I would love to hear from the panelists, what would you encourage and tell, especially to relatively older people, those who are transitioning careers like myself. This is now month 3 of my transition from the creative industry to the tech industry. I know so many friends who are married and with children, women who are transitioning into tech, and most of them tend to sell themselves short, especially when they're coming into the job market, into tech, because probably they feel inexperienced, or even they have a huge gap. Personally for me, since I left high school, got into the creative industry, I've never been hired. I've been in just the creative industry, working on that journey. So what would you tell such kind of people who are older, who are a bit more experienced, who maybe are from the business world transitioning into this world, who probably might sell themselves short in that journey getting into tech? I'm sure it's not, I haven't seen it a lot in Kenya, but when I do courses online, you are with people who are in their 60s, 50s who are getting into tech. So what would you tell such people?
Okay, seems I'm the one to start this, but I'd say change is good, and I know a friend here. I'm not sure he's here today. He's called Musioka Ian. He's done biochemistry, and he's now among the best cybersecurity engineers that we have. He's even joined Equity. I know these guys know him, the Freaks team. So, oh yeah, there he is. So that was the best example I was going to have based on that. So change is good, and just embrace it. Like maybe for where I am right now, I was from the offensive security and I moved to defensive. So that's not from the creative industry to this side, but he would be the best example where he's been able to transition from just from the biochemistry side to now doing cybersecurity fully. What does that mean? You just start learning. You start, everything is about starting. Have you started? No. Have you started? Maybe yes, based on this particular session today. So the whole essence of change is the part of you just need to start and see what you can learn, see what you can pick up, and see what you can move forward with. And for those, if you feel like you're not comfortable with it, you can actually drop it. At the end of the day, it's not a must. Just start, and then you evaluate the progress based on that. Yeah.
For my case, I have two perspectives. One is, why are you moving? Because I think it may be controversial, but previously I was of the opinion that you needed to have a lot of passion to do cybersecurity. But as you grow old, you realize that people have various reasons for doing what they do. If you are moving because you want to earn an income, forget about the passion side, do what you need to do, and earn that money. Because people are in different situations in life. So maybe you are transitioning because you've realized that there is a greater career growth in the cybersecurity field, and you probably have seen an opportunity you can take advantage of. Then all you need to do is put in the work. There are areas you don't need to be passionate about. Let no one lie to you about it. There are areas that you'll just need to fill in documents and check some boxes whether they coincide with what is supposed to be done. Then there are areas, now if you are moving for passion, now that's the tricky one, because then it's going to take a lot of your time, and it's going to take a lot of dedication. So the passion side is the one that is a bit risky, but people have done it. A lot of cybersecurity people don't have cybersecurity background. Personally, I didn't do any IT course. So it's not something that is impossible to do, but as I said, know why you are moving, then you will decide what to do.
On my part, I'll say it's doable. It's really, really doable. It's just that it may take longer than other people may take because of their background in tech or whatever. The other thing is, identify a role you want to get into. Once you've identified it, look at what are the requirements for it. Try and tick off those boxes. Measure up yourself. Every 6 months, where am I in relation to this role I'm trying to get into? Can I say I've achieved this skill, I've gotten this skill, I have this knowledge, I have this? In 6 months, you'll have something, or you won't have anything in terms of that knowledge. So you'll either be closer to that role or a bit farther. 2, try and attend such forums. Try and work with guys who are in the industry. It will be a softer landing rather than HR somewhere else. Because to be honest, there are some organizations where HR is still archaic, so to say. So they have at least did an IT degree, tick. Those CVs are in, those other ones are out. So it will make a softer landing working with guys who are in the industry, people who would essentially hire easily, i.e. the guy sitting there. That one. Yes, that one. Such people, it gives you an upper hand in terms of interacting with such people, interacting with such forums, so that by the time it's going to be HR, they can make a case for you, as opposed to a blind application that goes to HR first and it's just shut down. Yeah.
Thank you for the wisdom that you are also sharing, and also for that question. You have to have the conviction first as you do the transition. So first you have to identify why are you doing the transition. Then the how is where the challenge comes in. So the change is what you are doing, but you have to quantify that change. How do you do it now? For instance, I'll give an example. A lady approached me about 4 years ago. Her background is in administration without any IT skills. Administration like DC, PC, those things. And she wanted to venture into cybersecurity. Had a session with her, and I discerned that she had, the passion. But now, the passion is one thing, as CK is saying. But are you willing to pay the price, the sacrifice? These things, they come through sacrifice. Personally, I started practicing cybersecurity learning, I think in 2006. And I can say that I'm still like a baby. Those are 16 years, and I'm still a baby. I'm even surprised. There are so many things that I don't know. You can see the aspect of sacrifice. So within 1 year, this lady was able to venture into a specific specialization within the cybersecurity, and she's now working somewhere in cyber department. So how you do it? For instance, don't try to be a pen tester. Let's say you are in arts, but you have seen pen tester, they are paid. The best advice is this. A lawyer comes, they want to venture into cybersecurity. So they need to contextualize cybersecurity. What do you mean by that? They draw their experience from law. They draw their experience from the legal staffs. Then they study the aspect of, are you getting it? So they are going to study the aspect of the legal. For instance, you are in banking. I'm sure you have interacted with some core banking systems, even though you are not technical. So what strength can you be able to draw from the art and entertainment? Then, how can you now provide almost the same services, but now in the context of cybersecurity, without necessarily starting to learn Linux? Because if you ask me that you want to do cybersecurity, I have to tell you, you have to do all the fundamentals. You have to do Linux, you have to do Unix, you have to do Windows, you have to do applications, hardware, networks, protocols, ISO, OSI, all those things as accumulation of these fundamentals. But how about the time? Because the time for you to be able to actualize those skills in cyber, and also the effort that you are going to make. I met another young man as I finished. He wanted so much to do stuff with, offensive security. But after staying with him for 1 month, I told him, the passion is there, but you don't have technical capacity. For instance, programming is, you may love programming, but programming requires you to be very good in mathematics. And so if ukiwa mtoto mdogo somehow mathematics ilikuwa inakulemea and you want to do coding, you are going to struggle. You have to be real with yourself. You don't have to, I am a programmer, I'm a Python coder. If you stay with what's your name? Trevor. I'm sure Trevor is good in mathematics. So you can come, you want to do Python also, but you are not good in mathematics. What do you do? Accept that you are not good. So if you want to do cybersecurity, what is the strength that you can draw from your current status? And let me tell you guys, there is no one who cannot become an expert or a specialist in cybersecurity. We have more than 20 specializations. Which is it? Cyber awareness. You are not a lesser cyber expert than the person who is doing offensive stuff. Are we together, guys?
Probably we can take the next 2 questions cumulatively, then we answer them together. Awesome. So one from this side, one from this side.
Hi, thank you so much for the session. My name is Reste Kuta, and I have 2 questions here. So the first one is, how do you deal with lack of motivation? So I know sometimes the going can get harder, and we all get to a point where motivation becomes an issue. And I would like to know from your end, how do you deal with that? The next one is from being managers, directors, part of a team leads and all that. How do you get to interact with the different personalities in your teams without getting personal and maybe going out of line, maybe to just hit someone because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So how do you deal with that? How do you balance the two? Yeah, thank you.
There's a second question.
Hi, Christine, I have a question for you. I'm a Tier 1 SOC analyst somewhere. I get this question a lot, especially from ladies. Like, okay, how do you like how to get to cyberspace? So how can you mentor, I would rather tell, well, young ladies?
To start with Kita's question, I'll start with the lack of motivation. If you rely on motivation, I think you'll never do anything. There's so many times you need to push yourself, even though you do not have the energy to. You have to. You need to. Otherwise, who will put food on your table? Yeah? You have to show up for you. That is the biggest thing I usually say. Show up for you. It's okay you work in an organization, yeah. It's okay you're doing the same thing every day, yes. But remember, practice makes perfect. I can tell you, I have been at Tier 1 for a whole year. It was tiresome. Because you kept on doing the same thing over and over again. So you lack motivation at all, because you know everything. You pretend you know everything, because probably you're getting the same incidents every single day. So you get tired, but imagine, show up. That's all you have to do. When it comes to team leads and managing different personalities, normally what I do is, like currently where I'm at, when I joined, I got to meet totally different people. So I have to learn, I usually learn every single person individually first. So I'll spend time with maybe Nancy, I'll spend time with Eve, get to understand them and their perspective of things. That way it is easier for you to know, oh, when it comes to Nancy, I can't tell her this. When it comes to, I can't. And also, please don't put your emotions, especially when you're a leader. Take your emotions out. If you put in all your emotions as a leader, then your teammates may at times feel, or the people under you may at times feel like you're too emotional for life. You know, and emotions ruin a lot. Emotions make you make wrong decisions at times. So take your emotions out, and when someone pisses you off, breathe in, breathe out, and now think about what you're going to tell them. For the Tier 1 starting off, first I say start with the basics. Do you know what a network is? Because you can't be in a SOC without understanding such things. Do you know how a network has been set up? Do you know those basic stuff? You don't have to necessarily know Linux in the SOC, because most times you are dealing with the SIM, especially as a level 1, you don't get to do the technical, let's say the configurations and all that. So start somewhere, and also there are so many platforms for that are free for learning Blue Team. We have like Cyber Defenders, we have Blue Team Labs online, we have Let's Defend. Those are some of the platforms that you can use to learn the different incidents that are there or are out there, and how can you. That's how you build the mentality of how to deal with a certain incident. Yeah, I hope I've helped.
I can pick the two parts of the question from Mr. Kuta, which is, the first one is lack of motivation. So I think I'll concur with Christine where she said at the end of the month, bills have to be paid, you know. So you have to motivate yourself, or just give yourself the affirmation that you can do this, or you can work towards getting it done. And secondly, get someone who you can partner with. Like personally, I have a friend at work, she's a developer, I don't know what she's doing. I'm in security, she barely knows what I do, but we just meet up on Fridays, mostly as there are lesser work that time. So you just ask each other, have you managed to do the goals that you set for the week or something like that? So it's something like that, you're able to push yourself because you have an accountability partner who you know at the end of the week, I need to tell her that this is what I've been able to manage to do, and also explain. You see, when you're in different fields, also try explaining the same. And then for the SOC analyst, basically just ask the right questions. I think earlier on I was a SOC analyst when I started my career. So ask the right questions. Sorry guys, maybe I've done so much, but ask the right questions and get a mentor more so to just support you as you try grow in the path that you are in. I think I can volunteer one person here, who is Christine.
For the lack of motivation, I think you have to figure out what's causing the lack of motivation. Is it the workplace? Because there are workplaces that will break you. So don't lose your interest in a career because of a workplace. So start planning, start looking for other opportunities elsewhere. Start making a plan when you work there. If the motivation is because of what you are doing, start doing something else. Because the problem with motivation is that it can bleed into your hobbies. The moment it bleeds into your hobbies, then it becomes a major problem. So learn to have a way of moving on to something else. If what you are currently focusing on is draining you too much, you can temporarily look for something else until you get back the motivation. So again, it depends on the cause. If you have the freedom to take a sabbatical, take a sabbatical. Go refresh, come back. But that you need money or some form of support system. So again, it depends. You also asked about the personalities, dealing with different personalities. It depends on the personalities. Is it that the personalities are just different, or that they are bad personalities? Because if it's bad personalities, just let those people go. There's no two ways about it. Because I think we usually have this saying of character over skill. So they may be the most skilled person in the organization, but if they are just going to bring down everything, let them go. If it's just different personalities, then it's a learning process. It's a daily learning process where you will learn how everyone operates, and you will be able to accommodate them.
In regards to motivation, I'll side with him. Try and understand why. If it's fatigue, take a break. Because there are times you'll definitely get tired when working on something and you're not seeing through. If it's that, take a break, come back to it. Another thing, have things outside work that you can do that also keep you safe. If it's riding a bike, go ride that bike. If it's going to climb mountains, please go do that. If it's dancing, spending time out with your friends, do it also. You need to have some healthy things that keep you grounded. Spending time with family, loved ones, do it. when it comes to different personalities, from my view, honestly, I feel they are either missionaries or mercenaries at work. A missionary is a guy who will hold the hand of a client and walk them through and be patient with them and work on things slowly and progressively. There's a mercenary who you need at times. You have a project, you have X number of weeks, it has to be done. So learn who is what in your team. There are guys who, once you give them the task, don't call them, just leave them to work. They'll update you if there's any need for being updated. The guys you have to follow up over and over and help guide them. So it's just learning who does what in your team best, learning how does this person work best, and getting them to do that, helping them on that journey. Because at the end of the day, you need to get the job done. This is the person who's available. How do you work with them? So learning how your team members work and just working with them in the best way, also trying to shape them a bit. As someone who's, or as anyone who will be in charge of a team, learn how to shape whatever you feel is a deficit for a certain team member, try and build it up. So that by the time they're done working with you or working under you, they'll have benefited in some way. They'll have that skill set that you may have wanted them to gain, and it will leave them at a better place, even if not for your organization, for the next place they'll go to and for their career. For the SOC analyst, I also worked at a SOC. It's tiring work. Level 1 is, you'll be churning out reports, sometimes you're looking at a screen and nothing makes sense. But be curious. Understand what that alert means. Yes, you're seeing a firewall has denied malware traffic outbound, but does that mean there's no incident? No, it means that there's still malware on that device. So if you start asking yourself the whys and how and all these questions, it builds you to become a better SOC analyst. Because those are the same questions your client will ask. Why, how, when, etc. So follow through, think beyond just the alert. Move away from the SIM being everything. We've grown to be very reliant on technology that we don't think outside that technological box. If the SIM doesn't give you an alert, does that mean there's nothing happening in that network? So let's be more curious in terms of SOC, and then it builds that career or that path. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, my colleagues, for the wisdom that you are sharing. On the part of motivation, as human beings, unfortunately, when we come to school in such environments, we are trained on IT, computer science, but we are not taught on how to manage our complex brain. So you have a brain that is so complex, but you are not taught on how to manage that system. And when you come to motivation, it is very intrinsic. So this is something that is in you, and there are a lot of chemical reactions that are involved. So you have to, like my colleagues are saying here, you have to find out the root cause first. Like for me, I remember back in 2003, I wanted to study aviation. But when I met Mr. Kenyaju, who is one of my mentors, he's there. You can, to pick him a coffee. Just by spending some time with him, by then he used to work for Microsoft. So he was able to introduce something which made me to love computer science. So right away, I was motivated right away. So go back in time. Why did you study computer science or IT? Maybe your parent alikusho. So right from the start, the foundation is wrong. You will never find motivation. That is number one, unfortunately. Number two, if you are actually in the right career, so there must be something. And one of the root cause that also I have also gone through it took some time to resolve that, is procrastination. And you see, procrastination is also intrinsic in us. Each one of us, we have a measure of procrastination. So, by how much are you supposed to express this procrastination? You get into the workplace in the morning, right there, you don't feel like doing anything. So, the only thing that will motivate you is Facebook, Instagram, some blogs. Are we together? So, what you need to do, you must devise a strategy to overcome procrastination. Because what happens, people try to run away. And they look for motivation from their own places. Because there's a chemical reaction that will make you feel good. So when you're working on something on Linux, you feel this Linux is too hard. So but peeping into Instagram for 10 minutes, look nice, then you peep for 10 minutes. Before you know it, you click on if you're a man, you click on a lady, you are zooming. Before you know it, you have spent 2 hours and you are feeling so nice. What you don't know is that you are generating a lot of chemicals. You feel inspired. At the end of the day, it is going to affect the level of productivity. So it is a fight that you have to fight. And I like the person who have asked about that. Why? Most of us, we are not struggling technically. We are struggling those two small things. I think Bible inatuitanga to little foxes. Kakitu kama motivation can make you to be unproductive and be fired. Why? You are in Facebook for 4 hours in a day while you're supposed to work for 8 hours. Unakaka kidogo unafanya report, especially when it comes to writing reports. Hapo motivation, I don't know kama kuna dawa ya motivation for us to write reports. There's a technology. You can adopt a strategy inaitwa Pomodoro, if I'm not wrong. That is something that I did. Pomodoro. Andika mahali utaiangalia ama utapu kwa simu. Pomodoro itakusaidia. Number 2, read a book inaitwa Eat That Frog. Eat That Frog. What you do, you start with the most difficult tasks in the morning. You have to do Linux something, you have to look at painted something. Start with those things that are so tough that don't even give you motivation at all. So when you start with those things, then you can have some time for Facebook and whatever in the afternoon. When you start your day with Facebook, the first thing ukiamka, let's say ukiamka 5, alafu naangalia Facebook, before you know it, your day, ama jamaa, so by 8 you are already tired. There is no motivation during the day when you are working. Sawa sawa?
Naomba makofi tena kwa mabibi na mabwana wa kamera.